Hey guys, it's Phil. I'm breaking from, I guess, the way that you guys would do this with Shoddy, and I apologize. I hope that's okay. Um, One, I'm doing this because I think a lot of you have a lot of work going on, and I want to try and keep omni-channel as simple and interesting for you as possible. It's incredibly interesting to me, and I love this topic, but I do want to make sure that you guys are cool with understanding this. So. I'm going to go through this. I think it'll be a fairly quick lesson, but a really critical one. So personalization, one of the reasons I'm doing it like this is because it's ridiculously hard to understand in a textbook, as if you read the assigned reading, I will be honest, as an omni-channel expert, it was difficult for me, because of the conceptual nature, at which it went. But you'll see it and you know this through everything that you do in your commercial practices and all of those sort of things. So as I go through it, I think a lot of this will become recognizable to you. As always, feel free to make sure you ask me questions or get clarification, whatever you like. So personalization has a couple of different categories. I'm going to go through them. You have read the theoretical stuff on it. DIY is pretty simple, right? So again, theoretically, it was like, oh, it's quick and dirty. You can't customize things on websites. But DIY is, in practice, something that we already use a lot of. And so you're going to know these things as wish lists. This is an Amazon thing that everyone else has adopted now. So you can put something, if you're shopping in Amazon, it's either too expensive, it's not on discount yet, or it's an ethereal thing. You want to dream about having it one day. You can put it on a list, and keep it for, later times, and that wish list can become public. Other people can see it, things like that. That is a DIY item. Okay. That is, as basic as it comes. The other thing that if you think of your Amazon experience, it's a really good one. Wish list is on there. The other ones are, things you viewed. And that's things, like when you search for, let's say this weekend I was searching for headphones, and I happen to look at 8 different headphones. They come up in your search history, and they come up as things that you viewed. And that becomes a DIY item that you can kind of go, oh, I was tracking or I was researching, but now this has come back up as something I should think about buying. And then the practical applications as digital marketers out of that is you can track and you can capitalize on things like cart abandon. If you've ever gotten those, if you've ever gotten those emails of like, hey, you left something in your cart, come back and 10% off that item, that comes from, this is DIY, right? Like you've literally allowed them to add something to a cart and then come back to get a 10% discount, right? Whether that's right or not, we'll get to that later. As marketers, you have to think about whether that's right for your business to keep giving away 10%. But that's a different mechanic. What we're after is just the personalization part of it. So things you viewed is in there. The other one that's pretty cool is other things, that other people bought, right? And that's things that you can do, so if you bought headphones, other people might have bought a different size jack, right? For like stereo equipment. If you're a podcaster like me, you need the big stereo jack plus the regular headphone size. Or if you bought Bluetooth headphones, you need another charging cable. Do you have that? And these are all DIY things that lead you as a digital marketer towards something different, allows you to be able to do something else with this. And so like probably the guys that do this best, Amazon is one of them, especially for all of them, in a row. Well.ca, which is a Canadian internet, healthcare retailer, does this really well. Best Buy does a decent job at this. And then there's a ton of little sites, right? Like I think microsites do this very well. The other thing to think about in here is, DIY is also favorited items, and so this is where like textbook stuff doesn't really play, right? Because if let's say you're in Pinterest or Facebook. Actually, Facebook's a great one because Facebook has Pixel. So if you know Pixel's a tracker, that allows you to track on your Facebook pages, your company pages, or retailer brand pages, user preferences. And that generates those side panel ads that you get. And so all of these are DIY items that allow you to draw more data and find out more about this customer and what they love. So DIY is definitely out there. It's just one of those things that's it's a bit difficult to it's difficult to conceptualize, but you see it every day. Okay, so the next one is simple segmentation. Again, the textbook is just fine, but the old Athenian olive store is a really weird example. There are much better ways to give you examples. So simple segmentation in its earliest form, again, not new, is simply point of sale data. And this is cash register data, right? So the most famous examples of this, one is Walmart. So you guys all met, or most of you met me, and you've now seen my face, so you know I'm older than you. So I remember the days when Walmart used to have one of the biggest point of sale databases in the whole wide world. And this was before big data. This was before all of those things. And Walmart could do things with their data that nobody else could. And so that was things like, based on regionality. So if I had a Walmart, so Walmart in Canada has something like 350 stores, okay? I think that number is still correct. It might be slightly more or slightly less. So in the 350 stores, if I wanted to track, let's stay with headphones, okay? So if I wanted to track headphones, my sales numbers I could track in a bunch of ways. I could track them by color. I could track them by size. I could track them by type. So things like over the ear, in earbuds, Bluetooth. Out of that, so let's go black. We can go white. We'll go blue randomly and red. Size will go kids. We'll put a one size fits all. One size fits all. Okay, and then we'll put an extra large for people who have really large heads. Okay, so extra large. And then the type you can have is over the ear, buds, and Bluetooth. Okay, I should have just put Bluetooth. Okay, now, so based on this segmentation, Walmart can now take this data and start looking at some clear segments, right? So when you walk into a Walmart planogram, or their Walmart website, you will see that things are sorted by popularity, things are sorted by volume, and that's because maybe Walmart knows that black, one size fits all buds are the best selling ones that they have. So that is simple segmentation right there. Okay, so that's already the start of segmentation, and this is before we get to omni-channel or any of these things. But this plays all the way through your segmentation, right? So the data tells you everything. Now, if you look at where segmentation comes really interesting and plays into the next segment, around complex proactive segmentation is, if you take these things and you say, okay, this is great information, but what I haven't added in here is any regionality. So does the West, does Central and the East of Canada all use the same thing? And now you realize, hey, you know what? When I add this segmentation in here, out west, what might be the best is that out west, because they're an active lifestyle, that they in fact want, and maybe they're freer out west. I apologize if you're from out west. I'm not making any generalization. I'm just making up examples. So maybe they want blue, maybe they want buds, and maybe they want Bluetooth, right? Because they're more active. And in the central, like in Ontario, Manitoba, like it's colder out, so they're not as happy people. They want black. They take their audio really seriously, so they want over the ear. They also. Oh, I broke this segmentation. So maybe they want Bluetooth, and maybe they have extra large heads. Okay. Actually, no. They should be one size fits all. Okay. And then here in Toronto, the rest of Canada would say we have extra large heads. So extra large, and we want over the ear. And maybe out east, you could literally build the opposite, whatever that is, right? And so what you get is simple segmentation looks like this. Is now you've got this ability to be able to build based on a macro set of users. And so what I think the textbook struggles with is how do you take this and how do you personalize it and bring it online? If you were to talk to a consumer, so the thing is like being personal, while theoretically that makes a lot of sense to a consumer, the consumer absurdly understands that being personal doesn't mean being personal to you. So it's not about one individual. Again, I apologize for the poor drawing, but it's not about the individual, but it's actually about the small niche that you might resort to. And so simple segmentation is this. Whatever the example might be, is the consumer understands it's not about them. It's about this niche, that they want to be able to feel like you've done the work to understand the tribe or the cohort that they belong to or that they identify with, so that you can make them the right personalization choices. So as digital marketers, you're thinking about that. So when you read that stuff, tribe, when you read cohort, when you hear experiential, this simple segmentation is the most basic of that. If you do this, you will get this tribe, which will generate you more. So I think, to me, the parts of personalization that are most critical are those parts, right? Is understanding how all of this kind of like, this isn't big data yet, this is just regular data, but this is data that will help you translate into this, okay? So that's simple segmentation. Okay, next up is complex segmentation. And this one, again, the textbook makes this really difficult, but the way you want to think about complex segmentation is what you're trying to do is you're trying to do simple segmentation, what we did in the last one, but you want to make it bigger. Because think about the things that a retailer wants. A retailer wants what? They want traffic. They want a larger shopping basket. And they want loyalty. Okay? And so he goes through this example of loyalty in particular and loyalty cards, which is a good way to go about it. The practical parts of segmentation, like complex segmentation, involves knowing this user. You need to know who this person is, and you need to be able to track their data. You might not know their name, but you will know their barcode. Okay? that's the way you're going to know them. So they're going to be user number 1, user number 1000, whatever it is. And then what you're tracking out of this is how many things do they buy every week, every day. So you're looking for timing, you're looking for price point, you are looking for other purchases. Walmart would call this what sells with my item, and then you're looking for other purchases, and then you're looking for, this is the magic one, is propensity. So what can you persuade them to buy based on these things? Okay, so it's really important that you understand this. The critical part of this that makes it hard is identifying these users and keeping a cohesive history, which is why he focused on loyalty, because loyalty cards are the easiest way. So you think of those guys, Air Miles. I don't know if you kids still do that, but Air Miles will send you targeted direct mail offers, and that is complex segmentation at its simplest. Okay, so direct mail is one of those things. Air Miles is one of them. The Loblaws card now, Optimum are probably the best ones, and then the ones that are the worst, Canadian Tire. So iconic because the Canadian Tire money, everybody has Canadian Tire money. You have it kicking around in your glove compartment, in your bag, in your whatever from the one thing you might have bought. But Canadian Tire has never been able to use that data to bring you in to buy more things. So while the currency was great, the return for segmentation was terrible. And so those are the things that you're worried about, because as a digital marketer, it's great to get the iconic. It's terrible because you have no user data. They never got this, which means you can't do any of these things. Okay? So complex segmentation is actually a really cool thing. Now, here's the thing is, so funny story about this is there is a famous story online. I will link it in the topics. I will link it in the article or in the lesson plan. But Target got in trouble from a father once. He came in, he sought out senior management at Target, and he was very angry because his daughter was getting using her Target Red card, which is the Target card, was getting pre-pregnancy type of coupons. So things for like Materna, right, which is the nutritional, the vitamin supplement for expecting moms, coupons on diapers and diaper rash creams and things like that. And he was livid because his daughter was 16. This was inappropriate completely. And Target went away and said, "Listen, we apologize. We don't know how this happened, but generally the algorithm's pretty, it's pretty accurate." And then the gentleman came back after 3 months and had to apologize because his daughter was indeed pregnant. But because of the purchases she was making on her card, the Target algorithm knew before the man did that his daughter was pregnant. And so that's like complex segmentation, and that's before you get to omnichannel. That is just bricks and mortar and kind of this, again, sort of big data, where you guys as digital marketers are really going to get into this is, and like if you think of a food company, this is where food companies really want to get into this. They want to know if you're coming in to buy a turkey, I don't know why I thought of turkey, but turkey is great. So turkey, if you want to buy turkey, you're probably going to buy gravy. You're probably going to buy potatoes, right? You're probably going to buy stuffing. And so they want to get to all this stuff. They want to know, well, how do I, if you're going to buy this, how do I get you to buy all of these things, right? And then how do I drive all of these things into your basket. So do I got to make a coupon? Do I advertise? Do I post your social media? How do I do that so that you buy all these things online and offline? Okay, so this is where omni-channel really comes into play. How do you do that? Now, the other thing is then, how do I take this? How do I turn you into, how do I figure out who you are? Are you a person who likes to make your own meals? And so how do I continue to get you a grocery list that makes sense? Recommended grocery items, right? Are you someone who just really loves, are you a foodie? You know, so how do I inspire you? So how do I send you articles? How do I send you recipes? How do I send you a grocery list for something new? So how do I expand you out of these categories? So if you're turkey, will you eat? Apologize to the vegetarians. Do you eat rabbit? Do you eat duck? Do you eat what else? You know, like all you see here as a retailer is cha-ching, 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 right? Because now you've got this shopping basket, someone who's going to come back more often because you've inspired them to do more. This person will come back more often because they think you've figured out where their grocery list, which means they don't need to worry about it. The last one that you see out there that's really cool is guys like Blue Apron. Everybody's buying up one of these guys. Blue Apron, Chef's Plate isn't bought. It's a Toronto-based company. But these guys are pre-prepared. And so this is the other part of this kind of shopping trip because, you know, maybe here, like, so if you think of Walmart gets like $140 in your cart. If I'm Longo's, I don't have $140. You're coming in to buy grocery items. Let's say your average basket is $60 here. If I can get you to do this stuff, you're probably getting another $30, $60 out of this and more trips, right? And now if I say to you, hey, listen, like I have prepared, which you've seen at Longo's, you've seen hot foods, etc., or pre-prepared, or like this idea of chef's table where you can prepare but you don't have to worry about all this stuff, maybe you're getting another $30 plus a trip, right, plus loyalty, because now you've provided something experiential. Sorry, I've run out of space on the bottom. Okay guys, I'm almost done, I promise. We're at 22 minutes. I will aim to have this done in about 30 minutes so you're not kind of sitting here rolling your eyes at me. So the next one is productive associative. And productive associative, sorry, I'm not drawing here. Let's pick a color again. Okay, so productive associative. And this is really, this sounds very futuristic because this is more about, I want to know what they want, when they want it, and then how do I get them to buy it as soon as they want it. But this one's really cool. It's really short, but it's really cool. So Amazon Prime is a great example of this, right? Because this is as close to real time as you can get it. Is you want it, you order it, and you get it 2 to 3 hours, right? That's Amazon Prime. Okay, and they do that with Fresh, they do that with all sorts of things. So this is kind of as close as you get to immediately having it, where I think as digital marketers, you're going to be challenges. How do you replicate this for everybody else, right? Because you can't do what Amazon can do. If you can do it, you're going to be an amazing marketer, and that you should take that as a challenge. Having said that, Amazon is kind of a crazy animal. What brands and retailers are going to be looking for you to do is, how do you drive marketing that makes a consumer want that product from wherever you want it from? So the example I will give you is a great example of this is going to be things like in the food category. So think of Uber Eats. Okay, or if you're downtown and you have the ability to get it, check out Ritual. Okay, and these are things where you go, hey, it's lunch hour, you could get a burger. right? And you can get it in 15 minutes. So if you order it right now, it'll be either at your door because Uber Eats delivers it, and that's my car, delivers it to you in 15 minutes, or you can walk if you're at Ritual and it'll be at the restaurant waiting for you in a nice package. I don't have a nice package, but in a nice package in 15 minutes. And that is the closest that we can come right now to having this. The only other one, like the example is a good one in the textbook where they talk about, Netflix, because Netflix is predictive and it tries to figure out what you want to watch, and then it tells you about more things you want to watch. It almost, Netflix is different behaviorally because it almost tells you what you should watch now. But I think where you're going to be challenged as marketers is how beneficial, so keep your eye on this one. Everyone wants this one, but how beneficial is this to you? So the key here is going to be this final mile stuff, is like, how do you tie the aspirational parts of these things of on demand with the right time of, how long? Okay. So I want it, but you need to balance out that equation of what is the right amount of time for desire and realism to come into play. Okay, so that's product is pretty quick, but wanted you to kind of understand this one. Okay, so the last two I'm going to combine because I don't really believe in these two. So real-time personalization and extended data set. I think that these are really great ideas. But in practicality, neither of these are in your, neither of these are going to be in your skill set as digital marketers. Okay. And here's why. So one is, we don't have there is no way to do real time. There's no way, if you guys have an example, somebody hit me with it and I'll correct and retract my statement. But there is no way to do real time right now. The only people that do this are bricks and mortar people. So this is the small retail shop who works within a certain square kilometers that has foot traffic in their store. They can real time help you decide one thing from another. That is actually their experiential moment, which everyone wants right now, right? So that is the real time experiential. But you can't do that online as a digital marketer. There isn't technology that allows you to do this right now. So this one I would discount. The only thing that is closest to this, if you get into this, and not all digital marketers do this, but if you're in email marketing, you can kind of do this, but it's not real time, right? So in email marketing, you're going to do a ton of A/B testing. Because you're gonna want to know what messages resonate with who and that sort of thing, and the click rates get as real time as they get. Open rates, click rates, conversion rates are all going to be part of this because you can do that. But having said that, you really can't. That is it. Like you can probably do this from a landing page perspective. So you could, if you're building a landing page that you want people to. Let's say you're a brand and you have two offers and you want to know if 50% off is better, or buy one, get one is better. And this is strictly about language, right? Because they're really, they're almost the same thing, although not quite. Volumetrically, they're different, but you could A/B test these. So in real life, you could figure out conversions, but it's the problem with this is that it's far more about testing than it is about true conversion and true kind of the things that you as marketers will be graded against or employed against. It's going to be difficult to use real time for this. Okay. The second one is extended data, and extended data is, this one's really this is really out of your hands, right? Because you don't control data. Like you track what you can track, right? Like every marketer that I know will take every piece of data that they can get their hands on. And so, like, not to wander into this, but the Facebook piece about, like, the Cambridge Analytics and stuff like that, if you're a marketer, you're probably not surprised, because marketers want this data. Like, I want to know, like, when I was a marketer, what I want to know is, like, if I can, what do you prefer? Like, where do you go to see things? Where do you go to buy things? What do you prefer to see them in? What formats do you see them in? Because I want to know how much more I can get out of you, right? So I want to convert you. I want to build your marketing basket. Extended data is going to be driven by your organization. You can certainly get into this and figure out what parameters you need. You know, and you're all going to stay compliant. You know, the rules are the rules. Make sure you follow the laws. There are going to be more laws on this. But in truth, extended data is really out of your hands. This is going to be a IT, you know, kind of discussion, because your data sets are going to be collected by them. The one thing as marketers you might want to do is be involved in the analytics. So be involved into tagging actions. And so, like, if you think of your website and all those sort of things, everything that a user clicks, right? The shopping cart, the buy button, the search button, with a little, you know, anything they click, you can tag it and you can keep it. And then you'll be able to track that. But again, that's a little bit out of your hands, because it's got to go into this great big database before you can ever mine it or see it. Okay, so that's extended and real-time data. I just wanted to cover those because they were kind of important, but not critical to this discussion.